Tweet at LBC. Text 84850. Nick Ferrari at breakfast on LBC.
Good morning. It's 5 minutes after 8 on Tuesday, April the 26th. Your opportunity to put your calls and questions to Metropolitan. One of the calls, but first off, and I've had the pleasure of welcoming Sir Bernard and other commissioners. Exactly what a policeman or police.
So a few months ago, I think I came in here and we were talking about a rise in knife crime. We've made of about a reduced. Knives. So either people carrying them in the street, so we're doing more stop search, targeted on those people we think are gang members and where they might use them. And yesterday in Haringey, these are two knives that were recovered.
Hold them for one of the. My God, that's absolutely.
Now this second one, Nick, probably about an inch. Today we took a samurai sword off a gang member. So this was somebody walking in the street that we
With
were
a samurai sword on him.
we were being charged. Side of that, the other side of that was trying to arrest somebody who was in a car, get the key out of the door, backed in between that car leg, and
Will he return to service in time, do you think, Sir Bernard?
he will. Yeah, I'm sure he will. It's going to take him. Because of this type of stop search and this type of searching open property.
You're a fan of stop search, Sir Bernard?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, as you know, Nick, we've reduced it a lot. So as I say it, provided.
And this is
Seen the Met documentary that was out, the BBC. Things. There is a method of searching open ground, which the British Army started years ago, which I think it was a Major Winthrop worked out years ago. You can actually work out where something is likely to be buried. So you use common sense.
And these were actually buried
on an estate. So we believe that anything like that, you wouldn't bury them in the ground to the hilt. I don't think for any.
the work that the men and women with you do. I'll hand those back to you. You have your headphones on. Through to the Commissioner. Go ahead, Rob.
feel comfortable. People, so that you don't blow your listening networks. I cannot understand people who are willing is going to carry on sharing with us. I don't see how sharing, how creating our platform and then
criminal intelligence, yeah. Pakistan, of course, we share that sort of information. The one in Europe, people are extradited. So on the criminal intelligence side, it's pretty well established and is really helpful. On the bilateral sense that it, obviously, many countries of the world, and it's an extensive network in terms of its intelligence gathering have a complete answer around keeping us safe around the security information. They're privileged because they're not, you haven't got the same role that
I work with you.
that if it should be Brexit, then there'd be a 2 to 3 year period when there'd be negotiations. We want to make sure that we
Or otherwise.
well, this is for politicians to negotiate. I couldn't get.
Well, you have to be the commissioner, I remind you.
Many of my staff. But I think, you know, it would. I'm not really. I'm trying. We're trying to reproduce most of the benefits we have, and to be fair, try and improve some things. For example, in Europe at the moment, there is something called share. In the European Union up out.
A 9-page document was emailed to me telling me what condition was asked the police officers or 100 million, I'm not sure exact figure, trying to recruit firearms officers. rumbling.
Extra.
We get another 400. It's about 370 odd. It's about.
But where are the resources, as Colin? I appreciate he's not in the Met, but he'll have.
Yep.
He'll have
We are getting them from within existing resources. So we're going to take. And secondly, we are gradually for the Met delayering, i.e.
So the neighbourhood teams will take another hit. In the neighbourhood, what team as there was?
Well, actually, there are more in the teams, but there are less dedicated. Get some of them from, as I say, get rid of, replacing. Regard. They're all volunteers. You're going to have to take a split-second decision. Do you fire? These are very, very. Some of the forces, which will cause them some challenges. So we're working with them. Before actually the second Paris attack, I think it was, and also before the Wood Green incident. Why would you take it on? And I wanted some reassurance for our officers about three things. So first, problem, but they're the only people on our behalf in society who can do that. The opportunity, if it's an opportunity or a challenge, of facing a person with a gun, a criminal. They're the only one. You shoot. Point was. That's what the law says. So is it right? The second thing is, are all the investigators of police use of firearms? Or
Quick response from. Sorry.
so just finally, the PM organised should be coming.
Briefly, if you can, sir.
Well, just to say that. And
Hogan-Howe. Go ahead, Michael.
Hi, good morning. My question is regarding about Madeleine McCann.
A lot of investigation time spent on this terrible case, doesn't it? And everybody wants to know if sadly, if she's dead, then we need to give some to. And there is in the coming months. See whether anything we could help that investigation. Well, yeah, but just bear in mind what ages. If I went into one of our police. This line.
So you'd spend more money again, another 95,000.
This was a decision of the government that in this case they wanted to fund the Metropolitan Police to make this. Obviously have done to try and find this girl. But I thought it was clear, Nick, which is that first of all the line of inquiry that's been pursued, and I think
To the Commissioner, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Nick. Good morning, Sir Bernard.
Morning, Francis.
Some rather alarming, morning. Some very alarming figures were published these. I'm very concerned to know what the police are actually doing now to try to stamp out pubs and restaurants.
The number London is at a 5-year high to support
acknowledge that there are tens of thousands of cabbies out there who are good people who do. In Westminster. So there's only so much we can do on the street to monitor the use of licences. Some of it is very technical, but
Commissioner.
the use of rickshaws, I think, as far as I know, is not a thing that we complain about the nuisance, don't they? More regulation. I mean, the trouble is, if you're not careful, you regulate everything, don't you? Because everything becomes a bureaucracy. People, the benefit, they are checked.
Hospitals in England in their first all-out strike. The action's been taken in a dispute with the Health Secretary about new contracts. After hearing more than 2 years of evidence, the jury in the Hillsborough inquest will deliver its decisions later. Jurors have been considering 14 questions, including whether the 96 Liverpool fans who died in the disaster were unlawfully killed. Rail passengers on some of the busiest routes in the country are facing severe disruption this morning. Conductors on Southern Railways are walking out in a row over driver-only trains. LBC weather, a cold but bright day with widespread heavy and possibly wintry showers, a high of 10 degrees.
Buying, selling, renting, being a landlord. We're here to answer your questions. The Property Hour on LBC.
It's estimated that there's 57,000 homes that are empty, where people have purchased the properties and they've just been left empty, which is a bit of a scandal, especially when we have a massive housing shortage going on.
Join Clive Bull every Thursday evening from 9 for the Property Hour on LBC with Direct Line Landlord Insurance, chosen by over 230,000 landlords.
Dream heart-racing, breathtaking, life-changing wealth. Think wine cellar, butler, personal chef. Don't dream of a plane, dream of a jet. This Tuesday's Euro Millions jackpot is £29 million. Play makes it possible. Estimated jackpot. Games, rules and procedures apply. Players must be 16 or over.
Do you fit the typical profile of a client of the divorce law firm Cordell & Cordell? Are you male, worked hard all your life, have savings, a nice home and a good retirement plan, but now you are involved in a divorce? If divorce threatens your financial well-being, and even more importantly, the ongoing role you will be able to play in your children's lives, then consider the divorce law firm of Cordell & Cordell to help protect your interests.
Call free on 0330 60 60 161 or visit cordellcordell.co.uk. Office in central London.
Space. It's all around us. An infinite vastness. Extraordinary dimensions beyond the realm of human understanding.
Oh, you! Get out the back of me van!
Oh, sorry.
You're loads better off with a Vauxhall Movano, the large van with the impressive payload. Now even more impressive with free sat-nav, parking sensors and air conditioning. Retail customers only. Order by June 30th. T's and C's and exclusions apply. See your Vauxhall retailer for details.
When you're standing in that supermarket queue, do you ever think, there must be more to life?
And as you glance down at your bog-offs, do you ever wonder, surely there must be more to life?
Well, there is. As an Army Cadets adult volunteer, you could be having a lot more fun, leading expeditions or teaching young people things like first aid and archery, as well as adding another string to your own CV.
So just visit armycadets.com/get more and discover there is more to life.
Nick Ferrari at breakfast on LBC.
With Hampton by Hilton. A great value stay with hot breakfast and Wi-Fi included.
8:32, just before Sarah, you put your call through to Sir Bernard Hogan-Howe. I have a question for you, if I can, Commissioner. New mayor, if I've got my son as the mayor of London, whoever it How will that be?
Well, I'm sure that we'll... judgment. Different in price. Incredibly just energising, and you know, you knows what the future may hold, but I doubt we'll ever. Well, I mean, I've in Camden, one in Sheffield. You had cold November. They just, you know, and immediately, I think first of all, it was. Have to form a new relationship with anyone. I am. Yeah. I think no matter who you are, I mean, I've probably worked with over the years with. The main thing is you want to know that the.
You've been given a 12-month extension on your role as Commissioner. How disappointed were you with that?
Your power walk out the door. I don't think that's wise for a leader. So I've always said to be a period up to 7. Entirely why, with the new mayor coming in, of next year, so from today.
Another.
We've got lots to do. We've got lots to do. Which I think. At some point, don't you? Someone's come along and say, you've got a blind spot. You never deal with that sort of thing. And that forward. So there's always a time. It's not a God-given thing. But if they ask my advice, that was what I said.
And is it true the mayor walked in on a couple who were naked?
Officers to work in the unit that does the DBS. Also,
entirely right. We've got a real problem. No, but when people have to be vetted. Has increased. the number of checks. I think it's increased by about a third over the last few years. And we've found we've accumulated a backlog, and I'm not using those officers to make sure that we get rid of this backlog. But it's not an easy task.
Thank you for that. This refers, I think, to Lady Lawrence, of course, who's the mother of the late Stephen Lawrence, criticising you personally, I have to say, Sir.
For our officers who are undercover officers now and were undercover officers in the past, is that we need to vital. Made our case to Lord Justice Pitchford. He will decide in the end which our undercover officers are some brave people. Whatever they've done in the past, they've taken on some very difficult people at times. But I think we're perfectly entitled to make. That's not wrong. It's
the public that whilst there is always a minority who choose to break the law, sorry, this is to do with drones. Yeah, so are quite rare. 100 active users. Regulations which have been adequate by deemed adequate by the CA. A lot of controversy about drones in the public.
I mean, Neil, the point you make, which is about the last. You know, urban areas, very largely populated areas. We want to keep the skies clear. Two things we've all got to keep in mind. Sometimes mistakes happen. You know, these things go out of control, so they've got aircraft areas, and we need to make sure that if last collision was a drone, and there I agree with you.
Come to the last couple of minutes.
Well, that's in the, I think, stress-related.
Yes, stress-related, yeah.
I agree.
So are there fewer men and women doing the job there?
Explanation, of course. No, at the moment, I think country. Extra stress and strains of the job are playing a part. It is a stressful job. Even just working shifts is a stress. You know, you digest. The strains on things like relationships. You know, if people are working as yet knows, but it's clearly one possible explanation is there's been more demands and less people to carry them out.
Last couple of questions. Still
to find out what had happened in this type of case, I offered, and I believe Lord Brown was accepted. In other cases where it did happen and this person may have done it, but we haven't got enough evidence. Or to the suspect. Is caused by publication of their identity. So I've said that the press would want to name everybody on arrest. That's a very low bar, and as this case has showed, doesn't. The suspect having some level of public interest caused their name to be published. Now, why the press only talk to the, or only publish the names of the people who have a public interest, whether it be a footballer, a person of interest? They will publish the names of the person they feel, they think would, it would be interesting to the public. The other, So you know, whether it be Jimmy Savile, as we had in the past, it might encourage more victims to be investigated. So it's a.
What do you recall of those events?
Well, at the time I was away at university, although I came back to try. Course for the families. Of course, everybody would be interested to see what this verdict is. I believe that it was announced yesterday that the jury has reached a verdict, so we will hear today.
You will. I won't forget your trip bringing us
Hospitals in England in their first all-out strike in the history of the NHS. After hearing more than 2 years of evidence, the jury in the Hillsborough inquest will deliver its decision.